All right, welcome to the bonus segment Overtime here for the All Axxess Entertainment Podcast. And this week we have none other than the quintessential stud muffin, Mr. Joel Gertner.
I think you mean to say, well. It is I, the lyrical miracle, the sexual, intellectual, the cunning linguist, and the quintessential stud muffin, Joel. I was with this one chick. I know she wanted me to get my goo in. And then I had to stop to do overtime with my boy, Joe Bruin Gertner.
Fantastic. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here today. We're going to throw a couple names at you here in overtime. This is what we do. Basically, if you have an anecdote or a story, personal experience, just throw it at us. The Hitman, Bret Hart.
Hitman Bret Hart, one of the best. Loved watching him. Big fan. I was at a Monday Night Raw where he had to leave his match and run up into the balcony. In that segment, he was saving his parents from the dreaded Jerry the King Lawler, who was chopping them down on the microphone. And then he was on a show not far from here in South Brooklyn, maybe like a neighborhood away, like maybe 2 miles away. He was on it. I was on it. FTR was on it. And I got to meet him, and he's a really good guy.
The Undertaker.
The Undertaker, I believe I have never met. I don't think he would have been at One Night Stand 05. I don't think personally that we've crossed paths. I think his first wife was on Prodigy, which was like an interactive, like a kind of pre-World Wide Web internet service. So think like America Online, CompuServe. So I was on one called Prodigy from 1989 on. And I think his first wife was on there. So, you know, she would talk with people on there who were into wrestling. Love his work. He's done really well. There's only one. So, yeah, but personally, I don't know him.
John Cronus and Perry Saturn, the Eliminators.
Gosh. Those guys are great. How those guys worked together as fluidly as they did, because they were oil and water. Saturn was so serious, and Cronus was such a goofball. Those guys are great. I love seeing Perry. Every time I see him, I love seeing him. Perry, we always got along well. John is missed, man. We were riding one time. We were in like the Boston area or whatever. And maybe I was driving and maybe John was in the passenger seat. And we were looking for a parking spot maybe. And I just, every time I see a fire hydrant now, I can't not think of this. But Cronus was like, I guess as a reminder, he was like, "Don't park next to the Johnny pump, brother." So now every time I'm near a fire hydrant, or sometimes my wife will be driving and I'll be like, "Don't park next to the Johnny." Cronus was just a big kid, man. Just a goofball.
One half of the Gangsters, New Jack.
We got along. So New Jack, you never knew if you got along with him or not, because like he was a little bit fire and ice. He was a little bit like the wind. even if he got along with you, there could be times where he kind of, little random bug up his butt, or he's just not feeling it that day. But when we were getting along, which was most of the time, we got along really, really well. We were foodies. And so we would like bring stuff to the building from lunch that we couldn't finish or whatever for the other one to share. And like, uh, dude, that guy put me through my paces, man. I paid so many dues with Jack, whether it was tables and chairs, vacuum cleaners. We went through a lot. He's sorely missed. Also, just real good dude. Just family, just family.
Spike Dudley.
Spike Dudley's a real cool dude. Spike Dudley is well versed. Spike Dudley is well educated. He does finance now. But he was also, I think he had been a teacher, and he could quote Shakespeare. Spike was a really interesting dude. Got to see him during when WrestleMania was in Philly. Got to see him at 2300 Arena. He was hanging out, and it was good to see him. I love Spike. I felt so bad one time. I could have done a better job catching Spike, and but I didn't want to. It's ECW, so I didn't want to expose the business. But at the same time, you got to protect your brothers. And it was this weird kind of moment where I didn't know what was the right thing to do. Turns out the boys would have liked it if I would have been there to catch them better, and I felt terrible about it. So I remember that when I think of Spike, because he deserves the best, and if that was on me, then for sure that's on me. But yeah, Spike's a really interesting guy.
The Queen of Francine. I'm sorry, the Queen of Extreme, Francine.
Yeah, we stay in touch a little bit. I'm in touch with her, and I'm friendly with her husband as well. Francine's great. Francine, she started a little bit before me, but we started kind of around the same time. There was a lot of talent that came in '95. But she had been there a little bit. She'd been training at the school, I think, for a year or two by then before she started. And then I started a few months later. Um, Francine's great. She's really kind, really thoughtful. Um, just a good sister to have in the business. Really took a licking as well. I mean, really, took a lot of the boys' finishes, and was just love Francine.
Todd Gordon.
Todd devoted his life to ECW. He could have been doing whatever he wanted and chose ECW, chose wrestling. He was pivotal. He was he was the top of the line. He was the top of the chain. He was the G in HHG. Our checks all said HHG Corp, and that's I think where the G came from. A lot of the early money that went in from his jewelry shop and whatever. I mean, I think there would be no, it goes without saying, there would be no ECW without Todd Gordon. He contributed creatively. He was a character. He also went out there and was not afraid to get bumped around and put his head in the lion's mouth, and just really, gave a lot of himself and a lot of his family fortune for the benefit of ECW. And a founding father.
The innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer.
ECW's everything: heart, soul, engine, lifeblood, spirit animal. Just Tommy Dreamer, man. ECW is a different promotion without Tommy Dreamer. It's a different. He's and just the way he's been able to almost be a wrestling ambassador, like whatever company he goes to is happy to have him. And at WWE he was doing talent relations, and now he's still like an agent and a producer, but a talent, like he's like a player coach, and like he's I mean, a lot of these guys are just, they're one of a kind, and that's Dreamer.
The immortal Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. It hit when he passed, like everybody else, I'm sure. and people have different feelings about him, and he was controversial. But as far as a coming of age and an aging and just a realizing that time goes by, and just the kind of, just for how monumental it was, his passing really kind of put me on my heels for a bit, for a couple of days, just thinking about, wow, I can't believe the immortal Hulk Hogan has passed away. um I'll throw YouTube on and see what my algorithm throws at me. And lately, I've been watching a lot of 1980 WWF Championship Wrestling, and I'm watching Hogan in his first run there as a heel. And it's almost like they knew. I think they might have wished that he didn't ever even go away and come back, or they knew that if they'd let him go away, he could get some seasoning. They could bring him back as a better baby face or whatever. It's almost like they knew that Rocky would happen, and it's almost like there was just some kind of like force in the world, because you watch the stuff from 1980, and he's a heel, and they're already talking about he's a future champion, and they're already talking about this guy's got to fight Andre, and he fights Andre in the summer of 1980. Then when he does it again in 87, they act like it never even happened. But it was just this weird kind of, Hogan had, I don't know, nearly a 50-year career, 45, 50-year career. Was just, was iconic, man. Just household name. People who didn't watch wrestling knew who he was. He was just, I don't know, man, to be a household name and to be recognized everywhere you go, and to push your body to the limit, and to always be signing autographs, and you have to be a special kind, you have to be a special breed. So, I don't, I can't judge Hogan as being a good or bad guy. I'm sure he's had, moments where he was both, and I'm sure he's a very complicated person. But there has to be, at least on one side, there has to be a lot of good in him. I think no matter how you judge Hogan, and he had good moments and bad moments, I'm sure. He's a very complicated person, so it's not for me to judge, not knowing him personally. But I know that he did a lot of good, in that he touched a lot of lives and brought a lot of joy to a lot of people and went out of his way.
All right, so this has been Overtime with the quintessential stud muffin, Joel Gertner. Joel, thanks so much for taking the time today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
It's the All Axxess Entertainment Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.